You might cringe thinking back on it, but I don't think what you did was cringe for exactly what Joe said. Like it's you one, you're not out, but you also you're oh my God, are you okay?
I'm hurting out cats. I'm sorry.
Getting you to pay attention to this podcast is like hurting cats.
No shit.
Well, I didn't know the cats came back in here and they were like fighting, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up! Welcome back to episode 2. We've made it this far.
That's right, we're back. Welcome back to another lunch break here at oh fuck, I fucked that up.
At the Beards and Sundries Market. He's like any other employee. He wants to forget where he works. What's for break for you guys today?
I'm having something that rhymes with Popo Hiko.
I'm having a little bit of electrolyte beverage with a little bit of vodka inside.
I'm having a spiked lemonade, and it's lovely. Don't tell corporate.
I need to specify that my Popo Hiko is a hard seltzer, strawberry guava flavored in the glass bottle, so I'm very fancy.
Well, this particular spiked lemonade is a pre-canned version from a very popular lemonade brand.
Isn't it more orange juice?
No. What? Why would it be orange juice?
Jay's right.
Ha ha!
No, he's not. That's stupid.
You're stupid.
Hang on. I'm looking at the ingredients.
No, I'm saying...
There's no orange juice in here at all.
I'm saying that the brand...
You're right. The brand is more well known for their orange juice. Maybe this 1/3 of a drink is getting to my head.
It's Anthony going, wow!
Welcome back to the Beards and Sundries podcast, where we, 3 bearded gay men, talk about a new sundries item each week.
So guys, if you're new to the show and you're wondering just what the hell is a sundry, the term comes from an Old English term meaning odds and ends. So the term is still popular in retail as a term that groups together items that otherwise wouldn't have a group of their own. So as 3 gay men with beards, we are using it to group together a wide range of topics that we cover.
Today's item, coming out.
Ugh. I don't like doing that.
That is the one nice thing about being in my 30s now, where I'm like, if you don't know I'm gay, it's not my fucking job to tell you anymore.
I also think that this younger generation has been really nice about just being like, stop making coming out a deal and just be who you are without having to have this grand scheme, when back in our day, it was this whole, I need to announce to everyone.
Well, you had to, because it was a whole thing.
It was almost like you had to host a quinceanera to tell everyone that, hi, I'm gay. I showed up in a very large ball gown. I had a dance.
So I came out in high school to my best friend at the time. And I did it in the car ride back from Stillwater. So we're back on our way to Glencoe, Oklahoma. But I came out to my best friend, and I want you guys to know, and this is going to sound offensive, and it was because of where I grew up. I said it as and oh my God, I don't think I've ever told anybody these exact words. I looked at him and I said, I'm a fucking faggot. But I was distressed and despaired.
Oh,
Man.
Okay, yeah. So I know. Well, it was a whole moment. He was fine. Nothing changed between us. So great. But I was so scared. He was the first person I told. Like, I said it out loud to you. And like, he didn't know. So that was cool. I don't know. No, it's not cool. Be gay. Be gay. Do crimes.
Gay crimes. Mix and match improper clothing. Wear your makeup poorly.
It was such a stressful situation because, of course, I live in the Bible Belt. I live in small town Oklahoma, where I have been raised my entire life to be told that gay people are going to hell. I spent years trying to get myself to not be gay. Like, you shouldn't be this way. God doesn't want you to do that. And I think if you know me now, I'm a little bit on the other side of that.
Oh, yes. I know you're definitely on the other side.
I'm a raging homosexual.
So your first coming out was to your best friend.
Yes.
So how long was it until your next coming out, and who was it to?
To my other friends. I came out to like 5 or 6 close friends after that.
Because you had that little circle, right?
I did. And came out to my parents like by leaving them a note. I left them a note and I left the house.
Oh.
Because I wasn't sure what would happen. And I was like, am I going to get...
Were you running away, or were you just like leaving them a note and then just not being there for a while?
No, he's running a gay.
And then... Shut up.
He's a gay runaway. It's kind of like Faye Dunaway, but he was a gay runaway. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Anyways, I left them a note and I just left long enough to know that they would both have the chance to like read it. And I cannot tell you what happened after that because I don't remember. I don't know.
I literally have anxiety listening to this.
I'm betting a lot of other people will too. And let me tell you, I'm medicated for it now.
I was like, people our age reminiscing back on that time that did not have good experiences. I mean, this is exhausting to think about. It was a traumatizing experience, which is so sad to say.
It's sad how many terrible things I've been through in my lifetime.
Oh my God. Yeah, looking back, and I'm just like, couldn't I just live normal? Is that normal? Is crazy normal?
That's what pisses me off about this whole, like, all the don't say gay laws and people who don't want their kids to learn about gender in school. Dude, they already know. They know, and the only thing that's going to happen is that they're going to hate themselves because they're going to think that they're not normal. And then if you really do love your kids and they turn out to be gay or trans, like what? First of all, if you really love your child unconditionally, why do you give a fuck what they turn out to be?
Listen, parents, these kids talk to each other. They have these in the palm of their hands. They can get whatever information they want whenever they want. So no matter what you want them to think, they can make their own decisions themselves. Even if you think they can't, they can and they will.
Are they watching Disney movies? Because Frozen, male-female relationship, buddy, right there. Prince-princess bullshit. They are learning about gender. It's happening right in front of their eyes because they see not Elsa. What's the other one? Anna. They see Anna and her courting habits and what she has to go through, that she wears this dress and like these are all gender norms that they're learning about through proxy if they identify as a girl and their kids and they don't know that, right? So we say it like this because we're adults, and it's not like your kid's like 4 years old and like, I'm a gay transsexual. No, they just know something is different about themselves. Like I knew from the age of 6 that there was something different about me.
And we're still trying to figure it out.
Well, and that's actually what I tell a lot of parents is the fact that I'm like, listen, if you don't want to teach your kids anything, fine. If you feel like that's protecting them, the problem is they're going to find all this information in a much less healthy manner than if you would just do the work. It's terrifying to think about how difficult this stuff is, but oh my God, letting your kids find this stuff out on their own is much more mortifying.
And dangerous.
And you would be shocked to know what they go through.
You claim you love your kids. You claim it. And I'm sure you think that you're doing what's right for them by doing that. But almost always,
you're stunting their growth for sure.
Yeah, you're not helping them in any way, shape, or form because these things already exist within them. They're not something that they're going to learn. They're not something that, like, you know, with the exception of Jay, who watched a few too many Meryl Streep movies that turned him gay. He's the only one who came out gay because of movies. Like, it's just him.
Yeah.
Because of Meryl Streep, actually. Just Meryl Streep. But Meryl Streep, I support it. You don't have to sue me. That's not defamation.
It's just information.
Factimation.
There are so many people out there who still, like, don't understand that being gay or trans or bi or whatever you end up being is not a choice. It's not something that you're, like, making a decision about. It just is what it is. It's like the color of your fucking hair.
Well, and another thing is a lot of people that, especially parents, if they don't know what's happening, if they're ignorant towards this, new trend of, I don't know, for example, prepositions, stuff like that. If you're ignorant towards it and don't understand it, your theory is to shut it.
You mean pronouns?
Yes, sorry. I just...
At the Beards and Sundries podcast, we not only respect your pronouns, we also respect your prepositions.
We make a preposition about your pronouns.
But not your participles.
I knew.
Oh, you dumb bitch.
I can't believe that my preposition joke is bleeding into my brain now. That bad. Anyways, if you don't understand it, you immediately shut it down and block your kids from it, and instead of just trying to learn how to grow with society.
It's fear of the unknown. It's classic.
Well, and older generations love to have a black and white answer to everything, and it is the fact that if you don't have a solid answer, then you have to make one. And I'm like, no, it's fine to not know things and to question things.
It is, because then you can't learn anything if you don't question it.
Right.
I just can't imagine having a child and thinking I do want to protect them and not understanding that that means educating them.
I just feel that if your child trusts you enough to try to do this with you and you shut them out immediately or kick them out, I feel that you don't love your child. You love the idea of what you want your child to be. And when that doesn't fit your ideal, then you no longer love them.
Yes, you love this image of what you think your child should be and have. And that's not unconditional love. That's conditional love.
You love the expectation of what your child should be in your eyes.
Yeah, you love the idea of your child and not your child itself.
And it's absolutely fine to have expectations that you would like to see, and you can maybe guide them and teach them things that might lead them that way. But if they don't follow the path that you think they should, then okay.
You have to teach your children, but you also have to be willing for your children to teach you at the same time.
You just have to be willing to be open and have a conversation and treat them like they're the human being that they
Absolutely.
are. Because while you might see them as a child, you also need to understand that this is a person.
Mm-hmm.
Especially those teenage years. I grew up very much with the I'm right, you're wrong, because we're older, we're smarter. And we don't validate any opinion from teenagers because, well, you're young and dumb. And the one thing that I can't stress enough to people is I was like, just remember that this is such a developmental age, and these kids are trying so hard to become adults and to grow up. And the moment you keep shutting them down and not even validating their opinions, their thoughts, or anything, you're disrespecting them. Why should they respect you? Just because you're the parent doesn't mean anything. They are getting old enough to make life decisions on their own. Help them.
I always hate that mentality of like, I'm the parent. You owe me your respect.
No.
Don't gaslight me.
You don't deserve respect just because you are the parent, because there are a lot of shitty parents out there.
Lots.
And you shitty parents do not deserve respect. Not from anyone. Not from your child, most especially.
And definitely not at the Beards and Sundries market.
You definitely don't have our respect. Because birthing a child, not that special.
You adjusted your body for me, but that means nothing.
No, you guys tell me about your coming out stories. I want to know.
Ugh. Oh, well, my my coming out story was pretty wild. I don't remember if it was 15 going into it was 16 going into 17.
He shot a guy.
No, I didn't shoot guns back then.
In a way.
At all. Oh. But I remember it first started with friends, and we were sitting in their car, and I remember it was cold out because we sat there for a long time at a gas station, and it was like 2 hours of me kind of like hinting at it, and they kept trying to get me to say it. And back then I remember being so annoyed because I was just like, you guys know, just let it go. And then it was kind of nice that they forced me to say it, because then it was a realization that everything clicked and my brain was like, this is it. You've said it. You're gay.
What were you wearing?
Great question. This was 16 years ago.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like a puka shell necklace, maybe like a Hollister tee, some distressed jeans.
After I came out is when I started being a little more cute with like my plaid shorts and my shell necklace and my frosted tip spiky hair, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And my American Eagle Hollister shirts I wore all the time with 18 layers of material sewn in for the AE on it.
The popped collar.
On the back, they didn't even bother to like sew up properly. Like all the edges of the A
Were
are
frayed.
on the inside of the. I will say before I'm going to let you continue, obviously, because there's obviously going to be more. But, dear listeners, if you are a friend of someone who you suspect is a homosexual or gay or trans or pan or whatever, do not force them to come out.
Let them do it at their own
Pace.
Because it's uncomfortable.
That is not something you should ever do, because unlike Jay, they might resent you for it for the rest of their lives. And you're taking something that is extremely personal to them and forcing it out of them, and that's not okay. Except for Jay's friends. You guys did great.
No, I give them credit. They were definitely a benefit to me. Now switching over to telling my parents shortly after that. Whoa.
Oh, I've been waiting for this. Let's go.
Yeah. How did that go?
So I don't even think my stepdad was home, but I told my mom. I was in the kitchen. I was kind of like hinting around to it, and I was like, well, I think I have something to tell you. And she was kind of guessing, and then she goes, are you gay? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, I knew it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, all right, bye. And then I went to my room and like,
bye.
Yeah, I was like, oh. And then in my head, I'm like, oh, I was really worked up about nothing. And oh, wow, was I wrong? I don't remember. It was sometime later that evening. I can't remember if it was minutes or hours apart, but she like burst in my room crying. Wow. And she was just like, I can't have this. You've got to fix it. This is no, you're going to go to hell, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, and she's like, it's my fault. And I was like, Mom, it's not your fault. And I remember I tried to hug her and she literally pushed me back and she's like, you've got to fix this. And that was the beginning of like absolute heartbreak, because I was just like, oh my God, my own mother just to push me away. So anyways, then it kind of stayed shitty after that. They canceled my internet because they wanted to make sure I stayed away from the gay world. And then they
baby, this whole world's gay.
They signed me up for a female Christian counselor. They specifically asked for that. Which in my head, like nowadays, I'm just like, she'd have been like, hey guys, woo!
They're just in the yellow pages like...
Did they think you were going to get in there and you were going to be like, finally, a female Christian?
Well,
I love those boobs.
Well,
What a great rack on that counselor. I'm not gay anymore, Mom and Dad.
It was like family counseling. So we all three show up and we sit down, and all of a sudden, I don't remember what Mom said. And she goes, oh yeah, you're the people that wanted the female Christian counselor. And I was like, oh. And so she was like, she basically said something along the lines of, what makes you think this? And I was like, I don't know. I just, I have an attraction to men. I can't really explain it. And
he's like, Danny Phantom.
She asked my, yes. I really love Johnny Bravo on Cartoon Network.
Do not mock, because legitimately, Johnny Bravo, early crush.
Oh my God, absolutely.
What do you think?
I still want to ship a whole relationship between Johnny Bravo and Samurai Jack.
Oh man, that promo where they're in the laundromat, I was just like, what's happening here? I'm like folding my socks in the corner, like I fall in the dryer. So anyway,
back to your female Christian counselor. Did the boobs change you?
So after I told her that I thought, I didn't understand it, but I was like, men are attractive. My stepdad was like, that's disgusting. And my mom was like, you've got to fix this. And basically by the end of it, the counselor was like, so saying things like that is what actually makes kids worse. And she's like, I think there's nothing wrong with him. And she's like, we can continue counseling to explore his sexuality, but she's like, there's nothing I can fix. If that's what he feels, that's who he is. And then I never had to go back to counseling again.
Damn. You love to hear it.
Counselor of the year. God, yes. We stand this counselor.
Thanks, female Christian counselor.
If you were Jay's counselor for that one session, please reach out to us because we want to award you a million BS.
At Beards and Sundries podcast, I'll take you out for mimosas because I love them and you will too.
Ooh, it got gayer.
Yeah. So that was the dramatic part, and then it just kind of was a long time of we ignored the situation, and well, I'm 32 now, and we still ignore the situation. I love my parents through our struggles. I mean, right now, I definitely am kind of having some internal struggles. That's what therapy is going to be for. But right now, it's kind of in this feeling thought of they love me for what they like about me, and then we really push off a lot. So in my head, it's just kind of like, I live two lives because I'm like, well, I have my normal life down here, and then I have the life that you imagine. And so those are the very small things we talk about when we call, and I'm like, there's just nothing exciting to talk about.
How sustainable is that for you? Like, how it's just got to be frustrating.
It is, and that's exactly why I was like, I think it's time to talk about therapy to figure out the best way to manage this. So that way I feel like I'm going to take a proper step because I have like ideas and I'm like, but am I just going to act emotionally on them? So I was like, I think I need to talk to a professional that'll help at least guide me to figure out the best way to manage
Kind
that.
of
Because
funnel it into
I'm
a
one of
different, you know.
to a proper path that isn't me just emotionally reacting on stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? Your emotions are legitimate in situations like that because it is really hard to maintain relationships with people when they don't want to acknowledge you. They don't want to like see you as who you are, right?
Because I mean, shit, if she's listening ever to this podcast, it'll come as probably a shock to them that for 7.5 years I was in a relationship and they never knew about it.
That is so wild to me.
Because they never asked, and I took this path for a long time thinking, I'm just gonna let them adapt to it, and then finally talk about it when they're ready. And I think I had this thought that they would be like, listen, he's not a bad person, we're gonna go ahead and adapt, and it's fine, we'll talk about it, but it's been years. And I'm like, oh shit, maybe I took the wrong path.
Are you an only child, Jay?
No, I have an older sister.
Okay.
He has a sister. Jesus, what kind of friend are you?
I forgot. Fuck. I never asked. I'm as bad as your parents.
Jay, pop quiz. How many siblings do we each have?
Oh, fuck, I don't know.
You know, it's funny.
I can't remember.
All three of us have one sister.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's actually my sister's birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Joe's sister.
Happy birthday, sister.
Well, Joe, what about your coming out experience?
If you can believe it, it's going to be kind of funny. I followed the same similar pattern as both of you. I came out to my best friend first, and then my parents. And then after that, it was a small group of friends, and then college. But we'll get there. So, as you guys...
How out were you in college?
Baby, I spun a flag in marching band. As you guys remember from the last episode, I'm from West Virginia, born and raised, and went to college there. Born and raised, went to college in the same town, Morgantown, West Virginia. It's the county seat of Monongalia County up in West Virginia. It's city of about 30,000, and then when the students are there, it kind of doubles. So, sizable city, not a metropolis by any means, but I grew up in a suburb called Westover. It was right across the river, west over the river from Morgantown.
Oh.
Very, very clever, right? So I grew up in Westover. Happy childhood. My parents were together, still are together. Born and raised there, went to school all the way through. Had a happy childhood. I never really wanted too much for anything. We were well off enough. I can't remember ever thinking that we were poor, but I had a happy childhood. Everything was fine. I knew that I was different probably around middle school. I didn't know quite what was different, but I did know that I was lingering a little too long in the underwear section at Kmart.
Stealing the JCPenney magazine in the bathroom.
Who doesn't?
Coming out story number one. I'm at a sleepover, like a weekend sleepover with two of my friends. We're at the one friend's house, and then he had gone to sleep, and me and my best friend were still awake. And we found, through like one of his old toy boxes, we found these like communicator toys. Like, remember you would send a little message and it would send to them like across the room? I forget what they were called. It wasn't
Oh
like
my
those.
gosh, I did forget about those.
It wasn't a Motorola TalkBack. They didn't have like the internet plan. It just used like near field communication, and you could send like little teeny tiny messages. So we're messing around on
Huh.
these little communicators. We're sending like funny messages, and then the mood gets kind of somber, and he sends to me. I can't remember. I'm sorry, best friend from high school, if it was you or me who initiated the message, but one of us sent to the other, "Are you gay?" And I just remember like the heartbeat, like I could hear it like banging in my ears because it was, you don't know what's going to happen if you tell the truth. But I did. I jumped off the plank and said yes. And then I get back on the message, "So am I." And I was like, holy shit. Like it turned out that we were going through a similar like internal struggle. And then we were both gay. And we were like both so relieved and like had a great time, like staying up the whole night and chatting, and then went to bed, and then stayed best friends throughout high school. Like he was a college roommate for me for a while. And then funny enough, it turns out the third friend who we were at his house having the sleepover, we all played trumpet in high school. That's how we were friends. It turns out that he's gay too. So we were just three gay boys having a platonic sleepover and finding out more about ourselves. So then
Good lord.
the three of us were all gay.
3 high school trumpet players turned out gay.
I'm starting to see a statistic here about trumpets because I started playing trumpet.
I mean, to get good at trumpet, you have to get good at fingering, blowing, and tonguing. I'm not joking. Those are the terms, and you have to practice them quite a lot.
That's weird. Joe, after my trumpet, I switched to French horn, and that's
Whoa.
where you cup your hand.
And you have to, not only are you fingering and
She advanced.
now you're
And then in college, I dabbled in oboe.
so you were really getting on that wood.
A double wood.
Now, parents, I still lived at home for my freshman year. I moved out for sophomore through senior year. So it's freshman year. Like I said before, I was in marching band. I joined the color guard my junior year, which, if you don't know what color guard is, it's when you're looking at a marching band, it's the flags, the rifles that are doing all the movements. So I did that junior and senior year, still in the closet to my family. So my freshman year of college, I'm at the house. I'm showing my mom this color guard video on YouTube. And we're halfway through the video, I think, and she looks over at me and she says, "Are you gay?"
God.
I could see your mom doing that too.
And it was in the moment, and I didn't want to lie to her, especially not anymore. And I just said, "Yes." And she said, "I've known you were gay since you were 3 years old." Just cue a mind flood memory of all the grocery store trips, all the times that I would dance in front of them in the living room, all the times that I wanted to say I was in the color guard, all the times, just all these things. And then my wonderful father said to me, to my face, "You can still mow the lawn. I don't give a shit." They're going to listen to this at some point, so I will get this on the air right now. I was so lazy about mowing the lawn. My mom would go out and mow the lawn before I would. They would come and mow the lawn in the house that I lived in college. So kudos. I'm sorry, parents. I love you so much. I still don't mow the lawn. We pay someone now.
We do pay someone for that.
I'll say that, and then after they found out, my mother never ever showed any kind of animosity. I think she even embraced it. Like I took him out to the gay bars once in college. The gay bar, I should say. There's only one in Morgantown. I took them out, and it's funny to look back on this now as a 34-year-old, but I was 21. And they're like, "We want to go out to the gay bar." And I was like, "Oh, cool. We'll probably meet there around like 11:15, 11:30. And I just saw all the color drain out of my father's face. And I was like, "What?" And we got there, and he was so tired. I think he got like a beer, and my mom got a glass of wine at the gay bar. The bartender was thrilled. He was like, "Oh."
I would love
And
that.
My drag friend was there. My friend that does drag was there, and he danced with my mom. And I think they made it about, they're going to kill me if I get this wrong, but I think they made it about half an hour before they dipped. And I was like, man, they went home already? But now the thought of leaving the house past 8 o'clock I'm so tired.
Oh yeah, for sure. I couldn't do that.
When you were here the other day, it was so hard for me to get to midnight. But we had such a busy day.
Joe made mention, he's like, well, what if we go out? And I was like,
He was like, meow. Meow.
no, I don't want to go out. I was like, it's Paradise OKC this weekend. I'll get abducted.
And I'd be like, bye. Keep your phone location on. Have fun. I'll also say that I can recognize that I was extremely privileged to have that kind of a support system in both my friend group and with my parents, because not a lot of people are that lucky. And my heart just hurts for these children that are their parents just don't understand it. And instead of trying to understand it and they kick them out, that's horrifying, especially for a child. That child that is that age to have to go through that is awful.
Dear parents, every parent, every single one of you, if you have a child, and if you think that child, if they turn out gay or trans or XYZ other thing, I'm going to kick them out of the house, you're not a good parent. You're a terrible human being. You deserve to be thrown into a pit of spikes made of rough-hewn wood and then have salt and lemon juice tossed atop you while you die in a horrible agony.
I don't usually hold on to a lot of jealousy, but when Joe or someone like that tells a story that their experience was so relaxing, I have this deep jealousy that I'm like, I wish I could have had that experience, because that would have taken so much stress off my life.
And that is absolutely warranted and valid to have that kind of jealousy, because if my parents would have gone the other way, I don't know where I would be today. And I honestly can't say that I would still be here. And I know that's triggering, and I'm very, very sorry. It's awful what some of these children go through.
Do you have to use the restroom or not?
No. Oh, it's because the toilet's in there. Oh, hi, meatball.
Hi, baby. Aww.
He has no idea what's going on.
You look so sweet right there.
He said, Dad, you're embarrassing me.
Oh.
Stop.
You're a chunky monkey and I love you. Should we go to a commercial real quick, Anthony? Since we've had a real heavy time, you should pick a good one.
You should pick a good one. I know exactly the right one. Gay.
And now for a word from our sponsor, Gay.
Fashion, therapy, parental neglect. Gay. The new scent from Bior. It's not just a lifestyle anymore. You can now smell gay. Shame, regret, daddy issues. Fierce, all in one scent. Make everyone around you either look at you in disgust or want to be your best friend. Gay. By Bior. Everyone hasn't made it back yet since the commercial's over. And I just want to let everyone know that I'm a prisoner in their basement and I need all the help I can get. There's a window on the west side of the house. Just break it. Just get me out. I'm terrified. Help. Help me.
Now we're going to play Was That Cringe? A game where you, the shopper, tell us, was that thing we did cringe? This is Was That Cringe in the Closet edition.
Ooh, okay, guys. Tell me, was this cringe? I think it was before it came out. I was either 15 or 16, and I was dating a girl that became one of my very best friends through high school. Surprise. And we had gone to the county fair together.
That's serious.
And I know. Yeah, I know.
Did you ride the Ferris wheel together?
We're public. We absolutely did.
Yes.
Listen, Oklahoma, Kansas, the county fair,
West Virginia, the Monongalia County Fair. Also, do not discount us. We're still below the Mason-Dixon line. Damn it.
We did the Cali County Fair, and that was a big deal. And we were riding with one of our friends back home, and my girlfriend at the time was laying on my shoulder, sleeping. And
You just
and no, I even cringed thinking back on this because she was laying on my shoulder and she was being so sweet and she kept adjusting her head so her lips were in the
was she like,
perfect direction for me to kiss her. And I just she kept doing it and I was sitting there I'm supposed to kiss her. Why am I not kissing her right now? I'm supposed to kiss her, and I was terrified. And so I just I put my hand on her and leaned my head over and I was like, there we go. So I basically put my head over her face when she's waiting for a kiss.
You said no.
And we shortly broke up after that.
I will say this is not cringe for someone who has not come out yet, because I'm remembering my girlfriends as well, and I never even kissed a female. So we were
never did,
barely holding hands on the bus, or I think in the moment you made a decision, and that was it. It could have been cringe if you had done anything else.
I actually think that is not as funny as it is.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
It's cringe thinking back on it.
Right.
It's not cringe, actually. I don't think. I mean, you might cringe thinking back on it, but I don't think what you did was cringe. For exactly what Joe said, it's you're not out, but you also you're. Oh my God, are you okay?
I'm hurting out cats. I'm sorry.
Getting you to pay attention to this podcast is like hurting cats.
No shit.
Well, I didn't know the cats came back in here and they were fighting, and I'm just shut the fuck up!
But I don't think what you did was cringe because it's one of those things you're not required to kiss anybody. Doesn't matter.
And I kind of hope she listens to this and remembers that story, because I was just tee-hee-hee, I'm so sorry.
Joe, do you have your story?
I went to a sleepaway camp for a week when I was going into high school. It was the summer before I was a freshman. And it was a camp in Maryland. I don't know if they're a camp anymore, but it was it was a sleepaway camp for a week. So your parents drop you off. It was the whole shebang. You were in a cabin, you had a bunk. And I'd never been to camp before, but I knew one thing and one thing only. I was not about to get naked in front of a bunch of other boys. So it was summer too. I went through this entire week at this camp and I never showered one time. And I can only imagine. I thought I was all right, but you just know that as a teenage boy, you're oh, it's fine. Nah, no problem, whatever. I can't imagine what I smelled like.
Did nobody say anything to you?
No one said anything. I'm just imagining what I must have smelled like when my mom came to pick me up.
Did your mom not say anything?
Not that I remember.
She probably got home and she told your dad, she's like, oh my God, he smells like literal garbage.
That's the most surprising part of this to me, is that I can understand strangers being too nice to say anything. Your mom, I love her for exactly for this, is that she rarely holds back on what she's thinking.
Right.
So this is shocking to me that if she noticed it, that she didn't say anything.
This was 2003.
Oh God, I was 13. So you'd have been what, 15?
It was the year of 14 going into 15. So I was 14 at the time.
Yeah. That's the worst smelling time too, because you're hitting that weird era.
Where you're
where you just fucking smell.
That's Taco Bell.
And your every time you sweat, your shirt's literally burning at the pit. It's just
acid.
You burn holes in your shirt.
Also, side tangent to that, Axe body spray was in its infancy.
I vividly remember everyone going,
7th grade, gym class, I never showered. I used to wear my gym shorts underneath my jeans so I wouldn't have to undress in front of the other boys. And we were all just...
My favorite thing about knowing that you were different and homosexual in high school is the fact that you were terrified to get undressed around other men. I was the same way. Did not like getting in the showers, did not like undressing in front of other guys.
I would say, so this was not necessarily a single moment, so much as it was an ongoing sort of thing that I did.
What's the time period?
I'm about to get into it.
Okay.
So I am probably 21 at this point. 20, 21. I can't remember exactly when. No, I would have had to have been like 22. It's very like first year of my career that I ended up with for a while.
Was it around this time?
God
damn it.
I don't want to go back on my Facebook because it's the same problem. But
That is my favorite photograph of you in existence.
I loved that photo at the time. It was a great photo. So anyways, I'm in like the first year and a half, maybe this went on for 2 years of my career with the company I worked for. And I am dating someone who I have been with at this point for 2 or 3 years, somewhere in that area. I still refer to him, to my coworkers and boss, as my friend or roommate. And make sure that he knows that when we go to any events, that is the case, or I don't bring him to said events.
So I can't cringe at it because I fully understand where we are. We're in Oklahoma. You'll either be accepted or be lynched.
We have a married couple that we're friends with. They do the whole flags outside their house. They hold hands in public. They're affectionate in public. It's an internal struggle for me because I want to be like that, but I also know where we are. I fear that someone can pull out a pistol and shoot one of us in the face for simply
being happy,
showing affection to our spouse.
Yeah, that is a sad state of existence in what is supposed to be a free country.
Yeah.
I still struggle with PDA for that reason because I'm like, oh, I'm literally giving you a target to take out your homophobia or your toxic masculinity on.
It's so difficult because we've all experienced homophobia in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, yeah.
Like directly. Like I've, how many times have you guys been called faggot before by somebody? Because I have.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, yeah. We're at the away trip to Syracuse, which if you don't know where Syracuse is, it's upstate New York. So it's getting close to where they have this kind of an accent. And they go with the O's like this. So we're lined up. We're lined up ready to go onto our, it was either pregame or halftime. I can't remember which one now. But we're lined up there and we're standing there. And I hear this heckler from Syracuse go, "Hey, you guys look like a bunch of homos." And the girls and I looked at each other and we just started laughing so hard because a literal sock puppet just called me a homo. So, not necessarily the terrible F word, but I was called a homo in public.
Oh, yeah? You out there smoking the pole, eh? Anyways, I still feel like that was a little cringe to do. In retrospect, in person who that happened to, you know exactly who you are. I apologize. I don't apologize for a lot of things about previous relationships, but that is one thing I do apologize for because that was real shitty of me.
Were you out to your coworkers?
No, so here's the thing. In retrospect, I could have been, and it wouldn't have been a problem.
But you didn't know.
It was my own internal hangups that were the real issue.
We have to live with those internal hangups from how we grew up, and that's so annoying. Mm-hmm. So many people do not live with that, and they just don't understand.
I know. Go read The Body Keeps the Score. Listeners, shoppers, go to the book aisle.
Aisle 8.
Pick up a book called The Body Keeps the Score and get it because it's real worth it.
So I'm going to say yes and no. Back then, no. Safe. Now, absolutely cringe.
It was still such a thing because it bothers me now because I'm like, that is a really unfair thing to do to somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
right.
And they would have been justified in calling it off because of that. Back then, me wouldn't have thought that, but they would have.
And I did the same stuff, climbing life and trying to put on this facade that I'm no different, so you don't have a reason to put a judgment on me, even though, listen to me talk. This voice is like gay. But for some reason, people are like, he's definitely not gay.
Yeah, this is a little heavy today. So, for that, I'm not sorry, because I'm not sorry. I think I've established that. But I do want our listeners to know that it's not always going to be this heavy. This just happened to be a very heavy topic for the three of us. That's a very...
We're not trying to drag you down.
No, this is a very subjective subject for everyone. For some people, they're coming out as a happy moment. For some of us, it's a struggle.
This break room is for everyone.
And for you to feel comfortable with us, you need to hear some of our backstories to maybe understand why we are the way we are.
And yeah, everybody's welcome in the break room. Except for you, Jay.
Oh, sorry. I need to get off break anyways. I'll see y'all later.
Oh god, I hear the music coming on.
Yeah, stop microwaving salmon.
Bye!
Hi shoppers, Anthony here. Today we talked about some pretty heavy subject matter. LGBTQ youth are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their peers, and our hearts go out to anyone struggling to feel comfortable in their own skin. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, please reach out to the Suicide Prevention Hotline. The hotline number is 988 for our listeners in the U.S. Joe, Jay, Anthony, and the rest of the Beards and Sundries team want you to know that you are not alone, you are loved, and the world truly is a better place with you in it. Place with you in it. Place with you in it. Place with you in it.